let me click it.
I will literally
Now, this is straight.
It's so easy.
6.
Now, I like your answers. Just focus for a second. Let's review, especially because we had people gone yesterday. First question, are your angles on number 1 interiors or exteriors? Interiors. Now, how many sides on that figure? 4. Same as the number of angles. So there was that corollary yesterday that we know all quadrilaterals, the inside angles should add up to what? 360. And if you ever forget it, of course you can do your n minus 2 times 180, whatever, however you want to do it. 360, of course, is the total. So obviously I'm going to write more work than you are. We have to add all of our angles, the 82, the 120, the 98, the x, and it should all be a total of 360. Now, clearly, I probably wouldn't write that much work. You probably didn't either, right? You probably in your calculator just did 360 minus 82 minus 120, so on and so forth, for a final answer, which you already had of. Got it.
I got 60.
Okay. Now, here's a throwback. Find the coordinates of the midpoint. We are going to have to use midpoint formula again today. Remember, midpoint's in the middle, so it's like you're averaging the coordinates. So first I need you to average these x coordinates.
Add them up, divide by 2.
Got it. Okay. Now you can probably do that in your head.
4.
So what's negative 2 plus 10
8.
over 2? 4. So I'm just going to put the answer over here on the corner on the side. Now we have to average the y's. So again, you probably can do it in your head. 6 plus 4 over 2. 5. So midpoint formula, like I said, comes up in a problem today. We covered it in first semester. It's from what I hear on the standardized testing, so that's why you're going to see me throw some midpoint formulas at you here and there. Not that that's a big deal. All right, what is the measure of one keywords? Exterior angle, nonagon. How many sides are on a nonagon? 9. Jalen had it. Now, this is a nice, easy one. Exterior. Exterior is total to how many degrees?
90.
Exterior angles total to 360. So I'm going to do 360 divided by, and a little mental math. What do you got? 40. Got it.
40.
Now, it doesn't ask you this, but just always, practicing. What if I asked you for the interior, quick, no work?
140. 140.
Because they make a linear pair and should add to 180. Good. Okay, let's talk about a parallelogram. Now this isn't on your notes, we're just going to look at it. So, first off, there are what we always kind of consider, and you can see we're going to write it there in your notes in a minute, 5, even though I know it says only 4, there's a 5th one in the definition, 5 properties of a parallelogram. Now, you might be like, oh my gosh, you're going to memorize all this. And I'm like, I think you can look at it and figure out some of this. Let's talk about the sides. What do you think are some significant characteristics on the sides of a parallelogram?
Perpendicular.
The sides are what?
Parallel.
Parallel. So the top side is parallel, remember your symbols, to the bottom side. I know those are messy.
I put parallel. Well, if
Okay.
about it, couldn't it tell you?
Now, listening. What do you also notice or think or try to maybe assume about the sides? The sides parallel, they also look congruent.
Congruent.
Okay, let's talk angles. Now, we're going to see some throwback to chapter 3. Chapter 3 was all the parallel lines. And we talked about corresponding, alternate interior, alternate exterior. All that stuff's going to come into play today. Now, because you have all of this stuff being parallel, you have some consecutive interior angles. What do you know about consecutive interior angles?
Add them to 180.
And what's our fancy vocab word for add to 180?
Supplementary.
Supplementary. So right now, with no memorization, no word, just info you know off the cuff, we know the opposite sides are parallel, opposite sides are congruent, consecutive angles are supplementary. There's 2 more properties, which we're going to get all of this written down right now in our notes. First off, definition. Quadrilateral, opposite sides parallel. So you do have to write that in. I consider that, I know that says only 4 properties, I consider that the main starting property. I think there's 5. Now again, I don't care if you write this next thing, that's just showing you this.
Pardon the interruption.
Yes.
Is Kate invited?
Okay, so I consider, of course, like if you wanted to name this parallelogram, and I'm really bad at drawing these. you could name it PQRS, or however you want to scramble that. So like in the past, we had triangles you would name, like triangle ABC. That's how you would name that parallelogram. Okay. Now, you know, two more things we're going to fill in there on the properties. We've already talked about a couple of them. Everybody been writing? Okay. Opposite sides are congruent. We already figured that out. And you can abbreviate this, like if you want to put OPP in the congruent symbol. Got it. So we already figured this one out. We already figured this one out. The consecutive angles are supplementary. Add to 180. So the other two remaining properties, opposite angles congruent, and I gotta scroll it down for the last one about the diagonals. But let me give you a minute to write. And you're gonna see, we're gonna practice writing, knowing these properties of a parallelogram. We're gonna use them today. We're gonna see alternate interior angles today. A lot of throwback stuff from chapter 3. We already used linear pair from chapter 3. We already talked about that yesterday. Okay, just look at the picture. What do you think at the very bottom? I know I have to scroll it, about the diagonals. What's that picture telling you about the diagonals? Look at your picture, the very bottom.
They're congruent.
So the diagonals aren't congruent. Notice the two halves are.
Oh,
They split in the middle. What's a fancy vocab word we use for split in the middle or cut in half?
Oh, bisect.
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 Diagonals bisect each other.
Yeah, they bisect.
So that is one, like, I have to be honest, I don't know if that's intuitive. You would look at the parallelogram and just assume that. That is one property you might have to just plain memorize. But we're going to use it so much that by the time, I mean, we do this a couple days, you'll have it down.
You promise?
Okay, so we're going to use our properties of parallelograms to find some answers for x and y, whether they're angles, sides, whatever they happen to be. That's our next mission, my friends. We're going to wait till everybody's done writing and has all the properties down. Now, you will see too, you know, we're going to talk about rectangle, square, a rhombus, a kite. There's a lot of properties. I'm going to have like a little organization thing for you to keep all of the properties straight. Easy, in front of you, sort of deal. Are we ready? Okay, let's go. So here we go. Use properties of parallelograms to solve for x and y below. I'm going to start with x, then we'll get into y. So here I identify x. Now, first question for you. Is this an angle or a side?
Side.
It's a side. And we know opposite sides are congruent.
Yeah.
So all I have to do, you can probably mental math it.
X equals 80.
Yeah.
Good stuff, Jack. Right off the dome.
So this sounds awkward. I don't like saying this out loud, but there's not going to be a lot of work on today's homework today.
That's awesome.
Yes. I don't like it. Okay, let's do y. Is y a side or an angle?
Angle.
Angle. Now, what do you know about opposite angles? Done. Y 65.
Is this already?
This is what I said. This is, yeah. I got some other stuff. We're
No, you
starting
don't.
easy.
We
Come
can
on
just
now.
end it here.
Come
Yeah,
on.
I'd say we end
Really,
it
you
here.
can say
All right, next up. Okay, read it. Part of the extending arm of the desk lamp is a parallelogram. The angles of the parallelogram change as the lamp is raised and lowered. Find the measure of C when D is 110. All right,
I'm gonna go
C.
with 70.
I like it.
Give the rest of the people.
Michael guessed 70. Is he right?
It's not a guess. It's an accurate.
Is he right?
I'm definitely right. If I'm not right, I'll leave.
Can you just tell me?
So,
I think you're right, Michael.
let's talk about why and if he's right. First off,
Consecutive and
these angles are right in a row. They're your consecutive interiors. And we know, I think it was Jackson that said it, consecutive interiors add to what?
180.
So is Michael right?
100%.
No.
And then the next one's gonna be 80. Back to 80.
I'm
All right.
Or one
Now-
time at one time.
I know it doesn't ask you this, but humor me, because, you know, I made your homework. I know it's on your homework. Humor me. What's angle B?
Hey, well, 110. Because that line.
What's A?
Yeah.
70. Okay, good. Easy. Easy.
Yeah,
All
Michael.
right, find the value of x and y. Let's start with x. Is x an angle or a side? Angle. And of course, we know opposite angles are congruent. You probably already did that in your head. 25.
Do we have to show work?
No. Okay, let's do, of course, y. Is y an angle or a side?
A side.
And what do you know about sides? Opposite sides are
Congruent. I'm gonna go 15. I'm gonna go
That's
15
what I
as well,
know.
Michael. I agree.
I agree.
Michael, this was more.
Why are we all praising Michael?
I agree.
Because of
Questions?
Lazy.
Questions on that?
Because he's the goat. I'm kind of a goat.
All right, here we go. Sorry, this one's a little blurry.
Shut up. I'm like,
Okay,
okay.
listening.
Michael, I should go to.
Okay, example 3. Now, first off, here we go. We're going to have to do a little work on this one. Find the coordinates of the intersection of the diagonals. We haven't done anything about the diagonals yet, so that's why we're doing this problem. Let's start, of course, plotting and labeling the ordered pairs. So L, of course, is at 1, 4. M at 7, 4. N at 6, 0. 0, 0 for O. I'm going to try to draw this straight lines that will, yeah.
I think this looks like a rhombus.
Okay. Now, it wants to talk about the coordinates of the intersections of the diagonals. So one of the diagonals would be O to M, the other would be L, N. Now, I can look at that and I can see it's not hitting, and of course I can't draw that great, it's not hitting at a nice whole number. So I know my answer, there is a fraction in it. We have to find it. Now remember, the diagonals bisect each other, aka they meet in the middle. So I need a midpoint. Does it matter if you do the midpoint formula of the green or the purple? No, pick. It's going to be the same answer. So I don't know. Let's do purple because I like purple. So L, of course, is at 1, 4. N was at 6, 0. So this is why I made you do that warm-up problem that reviews midpoint formula. We're going to average the x's, which you can mentally do at this point. We should be able to just do it in our head. What's 1 plus 6 divided by 2?
3.5.
Yeah, there's that fraction. And then we're going, and I don't care if you put 3.5, that's fine, somebody said 3.5. Okay, do the y's for me. What's 4 plus 0?
2.
4 over 2. You got the answer,
2.
Got it.
2.
And again, if you
Hey.
would have done OM, the midpoint, you get the exact same answer. Questions on that? Too easy. Okay, next up, here we go. Start plotting the points. 3 vertices are given, and then it wants you to find one. So W is at -1, -3. X at -3, 2. Z at 4, -4. So notice, hang on before you start connecting things. Notice you only have 3 vertices. We have to find the 4th one. So of course, you've got this side, we'll have this one. So I know the other one, this is just, it's somewhere over here, okay? It's gonna be somewhere there. We need to get a specific answer. So here we go. So obviously we're a parallelogram, keyword parallel. I'm on a graph grid. I know lots of things about parallel lines. This is back to chapter 3. Parallel lines on a graph grid. What do you know about the slope of parallel lines? They're the same.
Equal.
So I'm going to find the slope. So I'm going to start with the slope over here on this left side. I don't care if you count x to w, w to x, we're going to get the same thing. I'm counting rise over run. So from w to x, I had to go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and left 2. So in order to make my coordinate over here, hang on a second, Logan. In order to make my coordinate over here, I'm going to count the exact same thing from z. Up 5, left 2. 3, 4, 5, left 2. Bam. And they want you to call it y. And I'm like, oh yeah, when you connect it, that's a parallelogram. Final answer. What is the coordinates of point y? 2, 1. Okay, Logan, question?
I was going to give the answer.
All right.
Way to be
So
ahead.
again, I feel I've heard say that. Did you really have to do that much work on this one?
I would not
No,
say
I don't
that.
like this at all. I don't like the no work at all. All right, here we go. Last thing we got.
Yeah, I got you. I got a blue one.
Okay, no, we're not eating candy right now. We have food away.
I'm sorry.
We are focused on math. Also, I do not want to see any sort of candy wrappers or food wrappers on the ground like I did yesterday.
Oh, that was not our
Please.
class. I heard
Okay,
the-
find the indicated measure. I'm just going to start at the top and go down, okay? So first up, it wants you to get NM. My M's off the screen here, sorry.
Alright.
Well, what do we know about NM? NM, this purple segment. What do you know about diagonals? They what?
It's congruent to the other one.
So this is 2,
Yeah.
because diagonals bisect.
Yeah.
Okay, KM. K all the way to M. What's the length of KM? No work needed. KM.
2n.
4. 2 plus 2. Okay, ooh, I scrolled a little too far. Angle. Here we go. Careful on your angles. Angle. J, M, and my M's off the screen, L. So I need this corner. This right-hand corner. Well, we know lots of things about angles. We know consecutive angles are supplementary. So if the left corner is 110, what's the right corner?
110.
Consecutives are
70.
supplementary.
Jack, what do you think? My bad, come on.
So 70. Okay, next up, angle, K, M, L. So this blue one. Now, you got this, you don't have any work. Hang on, Logan. If the whole corner's 70 and this piece is 30, the other piece would be 40.
40.
And you know I can't help myself. You're really using angle addition postulate there. All right, MKL. MKL. I can do it no work. What, you got the answer, Logan?
30.
30. Because they're what type of angles? Give me the name.
Alternate interior.
You guys are like machines. I love it. Okay, MLK.
110.
MLK. This top corner.
110.
Because opposite angles are congruent.
Exactly.
Done.